Technical briefing. The Boeing 737-600 SP, a heavily modified version of the civilian airliner. It is believed they were given the fairly ambiguous and benign designation to mask their true capabilities and provide plausible cover for their operation, possibly chosen due to similarity to the 747 SP airliner. Several wartime sources reference a 737 EC that seems to fit the description of these aircraft, which may be the official designation. They were either retired from SAS or Lauda Air and then sent to Boeing's factory in Renton for structural and engine overhaul. After that, it is believed that they were flown to either the Palmdale Aircraft Plant, operated by the Californian Air Force, and/or Moses Lake Air Defense Base for conversion. The exact nature of the modifications or capabilities of the aircraft are not public knowledge. The aircraft were fitted with split scimitar winglets, the only 737-600 aircraft to have them, and possibly uprated CFM 56-7B24/26 engines from larger 737 NGs. They feature a large dome fairing on the top of the fuselage and two large fairings on each side of the fuselage where the windows would be on a normal 737. The upper one is widely believed to have satellite communication antennas, and then side ones probably contain the wide-band drone control antennas. The overwing exits and one pair of windows forward and aft of it have been retained. There are also numerous smaller antennas and fairings on the sides and bottom of the aircraft. The forward part of the fuselage is unchanged externally, apart from an obvious FLIR camera installed below the radome, as is the empennage. The internal configuration as well as the equipment installed is totally unknown. In fact, it is rumored that a complete list of the aircraft's equipment is never kept in one place, and the aircraft have to be ferried to different air bases for maintenance on different systems. It is known that they have at least one lavatory still installed. They have been photographed with lavatory service vehicles hooked up, and there is still a galley area installed in the aft of the cabin by rear cabin doors. The forward entryway is obscured by dark blue curtains at all times when the forward doors are open. Both cargo doors remain intact and are probably operative. However, it is likely that both cargo bays are filled with equipment as the doors are never opened in public view. They are painted low-visibility gray all over and have no markings apart from their respective countries' roundels on the wings and fuselage and fin codes on the vertical tail. After the border war, some were seen to have mascots painted by the forward cabin doors. The tactical usage and battlefield role these aircraft play is not understood. Initially, they were confused with P-8 and E-7 aircraft that the West Coast Air Forces also operate, and were assumed to be either maritime patrol or airborne command and control aircraft. In Cascadian service, they are known to be based out of Moses Lake Air Defense Base, Umatilla Air Defense Base, and Rogue Valley Air Defense Base. Going off the fin flash numbers, there are believed to be 6 in service, with another 600 airframe in storage in Moses Lake that could be converted, or as a source of spare parts. When not flying, they are always parked in either a guarded hangar or a blast enclosure under guard. During peacetime pre-war, they were noticed flying at high altitude around the drone production facilities at Bangor, Umatilla, and Indian Island. Californian aircraft seem to be based out of Edwards and Groom Lake Air Force bases, and are most often seen in the skies over Nevada and Arizona. During the war, they were seen again at high altitudes, usually within 100 miles of front lines. but never outside friendly air defense coverage or without escort. Post-war, they can be found nearby any sort of combined arms exercise in which drones are present. It can be inferred that they are used as a sort of mobile relay to communicate between satellites and drone assets, or possibly to control airborne or land drones outside the range of ground-based controllers or smaller aircraft. Another theory posits that they carry so-called control brains, which are large banks of computers that handle some of the AI processing for drone assets that don't have AI processors of their own. Another theory suggests that they have little or nothing to do with the drone program at all, and are in fact electronic warfare PSYOPs aircraft, and that the drone controller story is a cover-up within a cover-up. It is also possible that the electronics inside are modular, interchangeable in some way, and different aircraft are outfitted for different missions, and all of the previously mentioned theories are true. They all do have at least some limited electronic warfare capabilities, as civil pilots who have observed them notice they can actively jam radar to mask their position and are totally hidden from civilian systems. They also rarely, if ever, talk to air traffic control on open frequencies. There is also one known account of a U.S. Air Force pilot who fired upon one during the war. It was able to jam his F-15's targeting radar and then evade heat-seeking missiles with flares. The F-15 was then engaged with SAMs and had to break off his attack and take evasive action. Official Cascadian sources state these aircraft are operated by the 50th Strategic Airlift Wing, which is almost certainly fictitious. Given the defensive nature of the Cascadian military, they don't operate any other strategic heavy-lift aircraft, and there are no other strategic airlift wings. As with most other drone controller units, a fictitious cover story was fabricated for members of the 50th SAW to use when interacting with the public. The Californians list theirs as part of Strategic Airlift Command. This is actually a real unit. However, they aren't officially attached to a squadron and have never been seen acting as transports. Previous to the current fleet of 737-600s, in the early 2000s, a 737-500 was acquired by the Cascadian Air Force and modified in a similar manner. This aircraft was probably a prototype or test bed for the later aircraft. It was often seen in both Cascadia and California as the unified drone control system was developed. At some point, it received a large fairing on the tail in place of the APU, a feature that was not carried over to the later aircraft. There are rumors that this was some kind of miniature nuclear reactor or other power source. However, there is no credible evidence of this. It was last reported flying in 2012. Its current status or whereabouts are unknown. In addition to the 6 operated by the Cascadian Air Force, 2 were built for the Californian Air Force pre-war, and purportedly another is in production, based on a 737-700 as of 2019. They also operate at least 3 MD-80 SP aircraft, which are MD-80 series aircraft modified in a similar manner to the 37 SP. At least one is a modified MD-83, and it is confirmed another is a modified MD-87. The initial conversion work was carried out at the former McDonnell Douglas Long Beach plant, now under Lockheed's ownership, with final outfitting done at either Groom Lake or Plant 42. They are believed to be based out of Groom Lake Air Force Base. They are often referred to as mad dogs or magnetic disturbances by crews and other pilots. The Royal Canadian Air Force has also been rumored to have received two 737-700s sent to Boeing in Renton for overhaul, and then down to Palmdale. Several other nations of the Pacific Partnership Treaty and NATO have also expressed interest in 737 SP aircraft.